Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to This Side of Heaven podcast. I am Paris.
And my name is Colin. We are a podcast that talks about relationships, life, and culture. We're so happy that you're here. Make sure to subscribe and follow us on all of our social media channels and everywhere that you can watch and listen. So YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all of that's linked in our bio, and it'll be in the episode description. So make sure you're following us there and all that good stuff, so you never miss an episode. We would greatly appreciate it. So what's up with you today? What's going on?
We actually decided to film on the weekend this time.
Yeah,
we normally film after a long work day, so this is a lot different from how we are used to filming.
But we still kind of worked though.
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of things to take care of, whether it be Reading related, and you had to do some additional stuff to the setup. If you notice any differences to the setup, we would love to hear what you're noticing. Play a little I Spy action, so leave a comment and see what's different about our setup.
I like that. There you go. Leave a comment about the news.
Colin's very proud, and he did a really good job. So we definitely like the new vibe. We now have our microphones coming from the center instead of across us, so it's a little bit easier for us to navigate. But we're so happy that you're back. Like Colin said, we love when you guys choose to tune in. We've been getting a lot of feedback from our last episode, from a lot of friends, family, and other people outside of that as well, that were really interested in the topics that we shared, and they wanted to hear a little bit more about some specific topics, specifically in regard to religion as well. But we're actually going to dive into that maybe in the next episode or two. But we have a few things to cover today. And
one more thing, though, about the episode. It's episode 007. So episode 007.
So Colin's actually going by James Bond today.
Makes it the James Bond episode.
You should have just introduced yourself.
I should have just said James Bond. I know I should have. But it is the James Bond episode. I honestly can't believe that we're
James Bond body for the wedding.
Oh yeah, I got a James Bond body. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But no, you were so proud to share that. So
yeah, but I can't believe we're 7 weeks into this podcast.
I know. What did you say? That's the same amount. Is that the same amount?
We're at the halfway mark. So from episode 1 to episode 7 now is the amount of time that we have until we get married.
Yeah, that's so crazy to think about.
6 more episodes and then we're married. And also, speaking of wedding, just a very, very side note, like sort of thing. We are planning on doing a podcast in Wilmington where we are getting married. So I don't know when we're going to sneak that in, but I'm bringing all this stuff down. We're doing a podcast down there to get our live reactions and how we feel about the wedding and all that. It'll probably be a short one, but I am planning on doing that. So hopefully you guys are here in about 6 weeks. I'm not sure when he's going to
squeeze that in, so it'll probably be just as a surprise to me as it is to you guys. So.
I'm like my dad. I think there's like 80 hours in a day when there's only 24 and you're only awake for about 14 to 18 hours.
And most of our days are planned out, so I honestly don't know what we're...
Oh, we'll get it done for you guys. Don't worry.
But, I mean, maybe after like the weekend of, but I think we're only staying till Saturday and then leaving. So we'll see when we get that squeezed in. But
is that something that you guys want to see? Is a wedding podcast on location? Is that something that you guys want to see?
On location? That's not even doable.
It's a turn. Well, not actually at the venue. It's going to be like on location where we're getting married in the city that we're getting married in. But if you guys want to see that, let us know in the comments.
That's like some of the podcasts you watch when they go and they film their podcast from like a hotel room and they're like, hey, what up? I'm like,
it's going to be
I'm
epic.
Filming from the DoubleTree.
Yeah, like it's going to be epic. We're going to sit out on that like little ass balcony and have all the lights. Everyone's going to be looking at us. Yeah, so anyway, with all that said, we have one really big announcement to make. So we've been trying to get you guys to... Actually win the giveaway.
No, let's just wait till the end so then this person has to listen the whole way through to get to know that they won.
Okay, so they have to wait.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so stay tuned until the end of this episode. We're going to announce the giveaway winner. So it was a
$50 gift card to the place of your choosing.
To the place of your choosing. So
we are going to announce the winner at the very end of the episode.
We do have
so
if
you
winner.
Do make it to the end, I know if you actually know the hack of how to scrub through the episode, if you've listened in the past, Colin shared that before. He's not going to share this time. But
on YouTube.
If you do know how to do that, you'll know how to get to the winner at the end. But we hopefully we were hoping
just gave it away.
No, we're hoping
We shouldn't have said that.
We're hoping that maybe you didn't actually realize that, and you'll just listen either way. But in addition to that,
wait, no, here I'm gonna throw them off.
What?
You might know, or you might think that I'm gonna do it. I might not, but I might just make all the scrubs, like just random stuff. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So if you missed last week's episode, it was a good one. We talked about money, politics, and religion in relationships and what our thoughts were about it and our experience up to this point with those. It's the big three as you dubbed it in the last episode.
Yeah, and we've gotten a lot of feedback, like I said earlier, about that podcast that we filmed last week. We've actually had a lot of couples that have reached out to us that have either been married for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and have shared some feedback or some things that necessarily that they've dealt with in their relationship and some other topics that we could discuss. So we definitely will share those in podcast to follow, but we just want to share today what we're really feeling and what's really been like the driving factor to our weekend, which is Love is Blind.
Oh yeah, we had a really good night last night. So we actually ran to Costco. We got a bunch of.
We ran.
Wait,
to
no,
Target.
we didn't run to Costco.
We were out all day, or like after work, we were out all day, and then we get home, and I started putting together wedding invitations, and we were just.
And then we started texting my brother and then his wife, Keaton and Gretchen. I don't think they'll be mad if we say their names on the podcast.
No, but we were all talking about Love is Blind because they also like.
So then we got hype about it, and then we were like,
well, since we're on our wedding diet, we literally have like, if you ever see those pictures on social media where it's like there's 2 things in the fridge, and then that's everything that you can choose from. That looks like our fridge right now.
Literally, that's our fridge.
Because we have seriously no snacks. We have nothing. I think the dog has more options than us.
Yeah, he has about 25 cans of food up there.
But it's so funny because I'm like, what are we going to have for a snack? And then Colin's so funny because he'll walk over.
We're sitting there empty-handed,
I know.
too.
He'll walk over to the refrigerator, and then he looks in the freezer, and then he looks in the pantry, and then he just keeps doing all 3 over and over again, like thinking something's going to magically appear, which is the funniest thing. So then I see him over there looking in the pantry for like 10 minutes. I'm like, maybe we should just run to Target really quick. So
yeah, because I mean, I'm on the couch, she's on the floor, and I'm like, we have nothing. We have no snacks. We have no drinks. We have nothing for this monumental week in Love is Blind. It's monumental. And I don't know if you guys are watching, but it's a monumental week. It's epic.
It's always leading up to the wedding, and like that's the most exciting part. Like for me, I love the pods, and then I love the weddings. Like the in-between stuff is still good, but like I just love to see like what ends up happening. Because, like, you can kind of tell from their interactions at the pod. Like, you kind of know, like, the in-between stuff's pretty predictable based off of, like, how they communicate with other people and, like, how they were regardless. So I feel like, I mean,
it's like,
I don't know.
It's like Vesuvius, like, that you learned in, like middle school. It's like an earthquake. Goodness. It's like a tremor and then an earthquake, and then it just builds up and then explodes over the top. Like, the weddings are the explosion.
Oh my gosh. They try and make them so eventful. Like I love their teasers or their like the cuts that they put in the episode that's like they try to make it so much more dramatic, but it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Like you can pretty much tell. I mean, normally we're pretty off when we have to determine how many people stay together and how many break up, but I'd say for this one we were pretty accurate.
Spot on. Mm-hmm. So if you guys want us to get into it, we can get into it right now. So all right. So we're going to cut away from the podcast just here in a minute. We actually filmed from last week. We filmed our predictions on the iPhone.
While we were watching.
Back then while we were watching. This is proof that it was live reaction. So we're going to cut to it right now. What's going on this side of heaven, fans? Hey, we said that we were going to predict who we think is going to get married in Love is Blind Season 4. We just started the new batch of episodes that released last night, and we're here to give you our predictions for each one of the couples. We're actually watching it right now.
We're in the middle of Jackie and
we're in the middle
Marshall's argument.
Marshall and Jackie's argument. It's getting tense. So
let's just run down the list really quick.
Yeah, here's our predictions.
Chelsea and Kwame?
No. Yeah, she's way too into herself, and he is too.
but
Marshall and Jackie. That's
absolutely
who we're watching?
not.
100% no.
Yeah, no.
The streets are calling her back, baby.
Yeah, no, the streets want her.
He's too sweet for her.
Yeah,
They're
he's
an
very
absolute
sweet.
no.
Yeah.
Bliss and Zach. I
Yes.
think maybe.
Yeah, they're
I'm like
sneaky.
in between.
Yes.
They're the one couple I'm in between. Micah and Paul. I don't know. I think no. I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, no.
And then Brett and Tiff, I'm saying yes.
100%. Yeah, they're
They've
like the
been
lock
solid
of the
the whole
season.
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're the lock of the season. So I guess we'll check in with you. Yeah, we will check in with you. So let us know what you think too. Right in the comments down below. Let us know.
And then you're back, and those were our predictions, and we have written down. This is major spoiler alert. So if you haven't watched Love is Blind yet, either pause it, skip through. I'll leave the time
let's just preface-
right here
we have
to
to
where
say,
you want to
though,
skip through in the
We
video
have to
or
preface
the
this by
podcast.
saying, though, like, if you're a true fan, you would have watched it the day it came out. So,
Yeah,
like,
you would have watched it.
If you're
but-
watching this after the fact, then, like, you really don't like
some
the
people
show.
have kids, they have
I don't care.
responsibilities.
I'm a Netflix binger. Like, I will find the time.
You'll find a way to get it done.
I don't care what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I will find the time when I know it's released. So if you are dedicated, then you would already know.
So just in case you're not one of those people, spoiler alert, you want to jump to this part of the video right here. So Love is Blind reactions to who got married and who did not get married. So Kwame and Chelsea, we
did say no because we felt like leading up to it, like
Oh.
their relationship was so bizarre.
but tell us how you really feel about Kwame,
No.
especially Kwame.
No. So
I want to hear it. Come on.
No. Honestly,
I wanna
though,
get
we
comfortable
do
for
have
this.
to say, though, like their whole Calvin Klein shoot was just something that maybe shouldn't have made
I think
the
she
cuts.
was wearing like this color.
No, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly back in the pods, he said, one of them said something about wearing Calvin Klein underwear and bras. And then
Yeah.
it was like every scene outside of it once they got engaged,
Just
like she was in a Calvin
CK.
Klein outfit.
CK.
But the pictures were just hilarious.
CK.
I mean, honestly, I give her a lot of props. Like, I give her a lot of props though, because like it takes balls to get on live TV and do a photo shoot. But
She was planning that for a
oh
while.
my god,
her whole life.
She even said that. She's like, when I get married to someone, I want to have this type of photo shoot. Which like,
Yeah.
I mean, more power to her. I'm
Yeah,
glad
no,
she found
honestly, more
someone
power
that
to her.
wanted to do
That's-
it with her because God, I don't know how you even get a guy to take a normal photo, let alone get naked and take one. So good
And
for
then
her. You go, girl.
You remember the guy who was taking the photos, like the photographer?
Oh yeah, I was like, imagine having that job. Get a little closer, like
Oh, it was so awkward.
like the
was
things
so
that he was
awkward.
having them do. Like it wasn't even awkward, but like just imagine
No, it was
standing
awkward.
in a bed over someone like touch each other, like
Yeah, it was-
rub on her thigh. Like it was just like so weird.
I
that
actually have
just,
one.
Like,
I actually
ugh.
have one planned for us tomorrow
No, you
night.
don't. I think I'd have to cancel.
We're going to Target right now to go get your CKs right after we film this.
I don't even know how like
Winston's
that's-
gonna be in it, too.
But I honestly like thought because he was very close with his mother and he said that
Yeah.
she couldn't come and he called her a few times, which I also think that was staged, obviously for the dramatic effect. But I think his sister kind of guilt tripped him because I said, remember, she was like, I shouldn't have flown all this way if you're going to say no. So I felt like maybe he might have been teetering and then he was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then he felt bad. So, I mean, I genuinely think he was into her though, but I think like showing it back on how he interacted with Micah at the pool party, even though he was engaged, saying he was happily engaged and then like how that played
Yeah.
out. It was just a little bit bizarre to me.
He was a curveball for sure.
Yeah.
He's
He's very much like a schmoozer though. Like
Yeah.
he knows what to say.
Oh,
He's
yes.
like real fly guy. He just is like everything's.
What
but
did
like
I call him last
we
night?
did
He's
a playboy.
Yeah,
But
he's a
he is.
playboy.
But and it's funny too because after watching it, like you watched her and you think like, oh, she's like, you know, she seems like very innocent, and then.
Mm-hmm.
We were both kind of like, but something's off. Like she's probably really freaky.
She's like this. She's like,
No, we said she's probably freaky. But then
It's so
remember, every
weird.
time she would talk to him, she was like,
yeah, her eyes.
like she
was
would like wait for
she
him
was
to
like this.
respond. Or like she would like, if he gave an answer she didn't like, she'd just like stare into his soul to say something else. Just like so weird. But
Yeah, no, but yeah, so
But anyway,
they ended up
regardless.
getting married.
And we were wrong on
we
that
were wrong
because
on
we
that
did
one.
say they were going to be a no, which I said she would say yes, but I said he would say no.
Yeah.
So we were wrong on that one.
I say we save the next couple for last because they're like for reasons why. But anyway, so Micah and Paul, they were also kind of a wild card.
Oh
it was kind of
gosh.
like I honestly felt like they were kind of
I think they were.
not like settling for each other, but they were just kind of like, oh, we get along, so let's just ride this out and see where it goes.
I think they complimented each other well, but we even noticed even more too. Like after the fact of the wedding, when he said no, and then they interviewed him, like his personality was way too analytical for hers. Like he was like
so analytical.
He was like, and I decided not to choose her because
and like he gave a list of reasons
and then he was
why.
like, yeah, and he was like
he was like
basically like in the percentage of
he said
why.
he was like, love is not enough. I'm like, dude, if you're getting married, like you're getting married because you love the person. like that is the reason why you get married, because you love them. And there's other things that he said. He was like, oh, I like this about Micah. And then he's like, I don't know, like the love thing. I was just mind blown.
Well, I feel like it also, I mean, it's no surprise that like the time frame that they have before they get married is so short. So I feel like necessarily like the way they complement each other would have been fine if they were dating for like 6 months or a year leading up to the wedding. But I think that like time constraint really altered his decision. Cause like, I said that they were up in the air, but I feel like the reunion comes out in 2 days and I think they're still together for some reason.
Yeah.
Cause he kept saying like, I'd kind of like regret it, or like, I don't know if I should have made that decision. So I feel like after it probably hit him and then he was like, hey, Micah, what's up, girl?
Yeah. I forget what I was going to say about.
Oh, wait. We have
Paul.
to mention, too.
What?
Okay. Anybody who has a friend like Micah's friend on Love is
Shelby.
Blind, you need to ditch that girl because she was
my
brutal.
gosh.
Like, she literally was like, I don't know how they filmed it. Obviously, they made it like.
Are you going to talk about when she was walking down the aisle?
Yeah. And she like, her reactions were just so. I just thought they were so rude for being best friends with someone. Like, and then she was like, I wanted this to happen, or whatever she said.
No, she said, this is exactly what she said. After Paul said no, that like he couldn't marry Micah, it cut over to Shelby, her friend, and she was like, that's exactly how I wanted it to happen. I was like, what?
Yeah, I felt so bad because she was so upset, and her friend. Her friend wasn't
and her friends were like
at all.
laughing and smiling and like.
I mean,
oh my
they
God, this is
obviously
great
were on it
TV
because they
oh my
wanted to be on the
gosh.
show. But like, I honestly guarantee, or something's gonna happen where it's like at the reunion, she gets brought up and she's gonna say, I'm not friends with her anymore or something, because I genuinely don't feel like that's a true friend. Like how she was just so shitty.
Nuts.
I know.
She was nuts. Mm-hmm. You don't have any friends like that, so I'm happy about
No, but
that.
that's just like so
But she was,
shit.
like,
I mean,
nuts, though.
I
She was, like,
understand
low-key
like
nuts.
everyone has a different immediate reaction because you don't really know someone in that short of a time frame. So like there's a reason that friends and family are protective, rightfully so, but I just felt like it wasn't warranted on terms of like how she was communicating how she thought. Like she could have pulled her aside or like talked to her. Obviously, like I said, they do it for the ratings. Like so much of the show's scripted, but like she could have pulled her aside and be like, hey, I don't really think he's the right one for you, or like pulled her aside and be like, why do you love this guy? You know, like this isn't your normal type or whatever. But like the way she approached it was just shitty. That's literally all you can say.
Yeah,
Just
wow.
shitty.
So
But
yeah, so Zach and Bliss.
honestly,
moving on to the next.
but like Zach is a solid dude. Like we even
He's such a
said
good
the way
guy.
he was brought up to like who he is now. I
His
give him a
mom-
lot of
his
credit.
mom was a prostitute, and he was homeless with his mom, and he ended up becoming a lawyer, which I give him a ton of credit for, because
Oh, yeah, that would
when you're
be-
homeless, your mom's a prostitute, ends up passing away, and he still has the will to make his life a better life.
But it's actually sweet because
He's just a good dude.
Yeah,
He's a
but the
very
way
good guy.
he said it was like, I am this way, or I push myself because the love my mom gave me. And I mean, I think that that's so sweet, regardless of what her job was. Like the fact that he still felt loved by her, and that is what kept pushing him forward to be who he is. Like I give him a lot of credit because that would be extremely hard for anyone, but honestly good for him. Like at first when that like when he was with, I forget what her name was. I want to say it was like Iris, but that's probably so wrong.
No. Iris is from Temptation Island.
I'm getting my shows mixed up. But she was like, she just like didn't really appreciate him, but he was genuinely was just being really nice to her.
Yeah,
and
he was
I
trying.
just, and like, I mean, I felt like, I mean, when Bliss cooked or baked him the cupcakes and the other girl walks in, she's like, yeah, I just forgot about your birthday. I'm like,
Yeah.
it should have been pretty obvious, but I mean, I guess in that type of situation, you are probably overwhelmed with so many feelings you don't know. But
For sure.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they are as a couple. Like it was so short. It was just hard to tell. Like I feel like there was like one episode where they maybe interacted once.
Yeah,
like,
we'll see too, because Bliss's real dad, because her parents got divorced. She has a stepmom and then her dad was not a huge fan of Zach, but at the wedding he seemed pretty excited. So I mean, I don't know.
think he
Like, we'll
maybe
see.
got to terms where he was just like supporting his daughter. But I think it's one of those things where like even what's her face from last season, Alexis, and
How do you remember the names?
I'm losing track of his name, but she was Jewish, and then I forget what he was, like a country dude, and they got married, but like their relationship, like I feel like her parents or her dad was kind of hesitant, and then like they're like killing it now. Like they're still in a relationship and they're in a good, like I always see stories of them out with her family and his family.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's just one of those things with the time. Like I feel like his relationship with her family is going to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they stay together. But
Marshall and Jackie.
oh my God, what did I say
We
in my
honestly don't even need to spend a
I
whole
said
lot
the
of
streets
time.
were calling that girl back. She was not
Say
mentally
that again?
well. The streets were calling her back. She was not mentally stable. Like she did not know what she wanted. And I honestly feel like Marshall was such a kind person.
Such
like,
a good guy.
He literally, I don't know. I just can't even
But
like put into words
Explain
how crappy she was.
Well, you were talking about Jackie. Shoot, like where was I going to go with that? It was
Well, first off, I have to also mention too, like the fact that starting out, once they got engaged, they go on their honeymoon, and she just starts saying like, "Oh, my family this, and I take care of him, and my brother's just out of jail," and everything else she said. Which, okay, that is obviously weighs a lot on you if you are the sole provider for your family, even as like being probably in her 20s, but in the same sense, like if you are that distraught over what's going on at your home life, you're not being held at gunpoint to stay on the show. Like she could have easily left early on and been like, I just don't feel right here, and just said that was the reason. But she didn't do that. She literally just dragged Marshall through the mud, and then she turned it against him, and then she was just crappy. Like I just feel like she could have handled it a different way, and it goes to show how immature she was.
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts on her are pretty quick.
The streets are calling.
Streets are calling, but she
She literally said, I love neck tats and a fade.
Yes.
I'm like, all right, girl.
her type was the exact opposite of Marshall.
Yeah, he
So I
was
was
just
like, there's no way this is lasting. But he's a really good dude. He actually showed up to our next couple's
Tiffany
wedding.
and Brett's wedding, and he just
and
said, I'm
Brett's
just here
wedding.
to support you guys. That was so
It's just,
sweet.
yeah, he's just a good guy. And obviously, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
I mean, we don't even have to talk about Tiff and Brett.
It
Like,
was obvious.
yeah,
They were
they were literally solid as a rock the whole time.
And
other than his suit being
not
not fitting, and that lady needs a raise, by the way, because she freaking that seamstress, she was on it.
She was great. Yeah, they were. I think, like we've watched a lot of dating shows and all that good stuff, and I think they were the most genuine couple that we've ever seen on a show.
But I do have to say,
unreal.
as you mentioned that, I had said to Colin, like the first 2 episodes, I said to him, could you imagine if dating shows were people only in like their mid 30s to late 30s, and how many people would actually stay together. Because in your 20s, you don't necessarily know like what you want or like who you are and like how you are in a relationship. Like you're still figuring out yourself and your life. But they were a prime example of like being into their 30s and how easy it was for them because they were already established. They already knew what they wanted. They were both confident in who they were, and they weren't willing to change who they were for someone else. And they complemented each other so well. And like that's where you see other couples fall apart because they don't have that same mindset or even just the same maturity that comes with age.
Yeah, like they were ready to find someone that they were going to marry and start a family with, and it just everything clicked with them from the very beginning. He probably could have asked her to marry him like within an hour, and she would have said yes.
Yeah,
but
no, they were a good couple. But I think that we had a question like just for each other based off of the whole theme of Love is Blind and what it's like.
And speaking of Love is Blind, pretty good season. If you like it, watch it. It's worth it. It's not as good as the others, but it's still very good.
If you're just looking for something to watch and you love dating shows or any type of like reality show, I would watch it. But
yeah, it's good.
So yesterday when we watched the finale, when Micah was up there with Paul and when he said no, I was just like, I don't even know them, and I just really felt bad because I was like, that's so upsetting. I said, could you imagine if in today's world or like any type of modern world where you get married, imagine like planning a whole wedding. Obviously it's different to the degree of like how they plan, and the show provides pretty much probably everything. But think about planning a whole wedding just to not know if your spouse is going to say yes or no at the altar. So with that being said, obviously a lot of those people in previous seasons and even this season with Micah and Paul, she was completely blindsided. She said she had feelings and kind of had an idea of like what Paul was going to say. But I think like at the end of the day, she still wanted him to say yes. So my question for you is, have you ever been blindsided in a relationship? And if so, can you share it with us?
Blindsided in a relationship?
I mean, it can be really quick too.
Like to what degree?
Like had anything ever happened that like you never would have suspected or you never thought something happened, or even just something so small, like you were like shocked. You're like, wow, I'm so surprised that happened.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if I have to go into a whole lot of detail, but I was with a girl, and she was actually supposed to visit me at college for this weekend that we had. This like really cool, it was like a fair, like they came to our school and asked her to come. She ended up not coming. I found out she was in a different state with another guy, and that was blindsided.
Was that
I was blindsided.
Was that like pre-social media, or was that when social media was?
Social media was so fresh. Like that was right before Instagram like became popular, and Twitter was kind of a thing.
Yeah, because when we were younger, like social media wasn't that big.
It was not. Like,
I mean, even
your
now,
high school
like
years into my college years, it was like brand new.
Like now, everyone has what is that, Snapchat Maps or something that my sister says they have?
Yeah.
And like Find My iPhone, where they like just go on and they look where everybody is.
Oh, the true crime shows that I watch all the time. Now they're using like the
where they
Snapchat
ping near the
maps.
towers and stuff. Oh my god, it's insane.
If it's like adolescents or younger individuals, they'll use the Snapchat maps like to find the person like they're looking for, or trace their steps. It's wild. So, but
that's so crazy though that you mentioned that, because all the true crime that you've watched, like I always think that too. When someone either goes missing,
hi Winston,
or when someone dies, Winston's like, I want to speak up on this.
Good morning. Yeah.
But well, we should have introduced little Winston. Hi, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Do you want to say something? I mean, apparently not.
But I'm always like amazed why people are like, oh yeah, they pinged her phone at this dude's house, when it was like, how did you not know to turn the phone off? Or like, wouldn't you just like ditched it or something? Like, why would you?
Yeah.
But then it always goes back into like the psyche of like a killer, where it's like they keep the possessions of someone so like they have certain things.
Nowadays, my theory is that there's so much to worry about with digital whatever that if you're a criminal, you need to be on it, smart. Like you have to know
you
about
think about like
technology.
the Ted Bundy and stuff like that. Like, I mean, those people were on another level, but think of that in today's world. That stuff would be so different now. Like, think of what's his name?
We're kind of getting off topic here, but
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, think of Kohlberger and like.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about true crime one episode because I don't want to get too far off topic. I want to stay under half hour to 35 minutes just to keep this a consistent thing. Winston, he's going to do whatever. Nice. Great stretch, buddy. But yeah, no, I was blindsided by that, and it was probably one of the biggest shocks that I've had in my dating, I guess, career.
Yeah, but
no, I was blindsided by that, and I had no idea. I didn't think that was possible, and I think right then and there I knew that it was over. So that was a very big red flag after dating it was at least over a year and a half. So I was very blindsided by that. And I think if you do get blindsided by something, like, it doesn't have to be that drastic, but evaluate it. And I think it's a reflection of the character. So something to the degree of, I said I was coming to see you, but I'm in a different state with another guy or girl. That's pretty reflective of the kind of person they are and what they will be in the future. So it's like, that's pretty drastic. Mm-hmm. But have you ever been blindsided by something?
Oh my God. I feel like I could go into a long story, but it's not even worth it.
And we're going to protect people's names and their privacy and all that. So I don't know if you wanted to, but we'll try and be as vague, but as descriptive.
I mean,
as
it was
we
pretty
can.
like similar when you were like in your college years. Like, I feel like a lot of people are just like out of their high school like mindset, and they're just like trying to figure out themselves in life. So like, I mean, it doesn't obviously bother me anymore, but I mean, that was so many years ago. But just thinking about it, when I was dating this guy in college, and I remember like it was around my birthday time, and he was supposed to come home to see me.
We got to work on Paris's mic, her skills.
I'm just so into the podcast.
There it is. Yeah, I know.
And he was supposed to come home and see me, and I remember that like there was posts on social media that he was like at a concert with another girl, and he had been hanging out with her for the whole weekend, but then he said he lost his phone, and then he told me something about like he needed his oil changed or something and couldn't come home. And then I found out through a friend that actually
oil changes take like 15 minutes. I'm just saying, dude.
I actually found out through a friend that actually used to go to that school that he actually had another girlfriend at school while we were dating back at home.
Double dipping.
So I was like shocked. I had no
Triple
clue.
D.
And it's so crazy because I'm pretty sure that they're still dating, which I mean,
good for him. I mean,
Yeah.
he made his choice, and
yeah. I
now
mean,
I'm with you,
I don't
so
even care. I mean, I
he
think it's
missed
just
out.
like, I think it's just funny to think of like people that just are like loving their life.
You know what?
And you
I'm really happy he did that because now I'm with you, and we went through blind sides in order to get to where we are.
But I mean, I don't know. I feel like people have like so many stories similar to that. So like, we're not the only people. I mean, yeah, it hurts. You get upset, but then you get over it and you move on with your life. Like that's just
sure.
life. You know what I mean?
And
it
it's
just,
younger,
yeah.
just-
And when you're younger too, it's so much different than like later on. You're like married, you have kids, and then something happens. I mean, that is heartbreaking in and of itself. Like people that involve kids, regardless, you know.
Yeah.
That to me is so upsetting. But no, when you're like younger, I mean, it gives you no right to do it, but I'm still like, I guess it's not as serious because you're like, when you're that age, how serious can anything be? You know what I mean? It's like you feel like you care about someone or love them, but what does that truly mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. Younger relationships, and now where I'm in my 30s, you're almost in your 30s. It's two different phases of your life, but in each one you learn important things that you carry into your future relationship or relationships.
Well, I mean, even like the comparison of like when we were dating and versus now, us living together, like that difference is so huge for anybody in a relationship. So like that's why I compare it to even a high school or college relationship. Like you can't even compare that to the level of a relationship you're at when you're later on in life, because that is so different. Like living with someone and what you experience on a daily basis looks nothing like what you would experience when you're like in college. You're going to like the bars together, you're going to concerts together, and like that's pretty much the entirety of your relationship. Like you do things here and there, but I mean, if you don't go to the same college, it's life. It's just like
I feel like
you don't have
bills, you don't have, you don't have people.
But I feel like a lot of people do that, like date in college, because it's like they have like it's pretty much built in, and you have the same background because you're doing the same things. Like you may have the same interests, but then you come to find out after college, like, okay, we don't drink for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we don't do all these things. Like now you have a job and now you have responsibility. So then a lot of people are
changes.
like, so a lot of people are like,
changes, and then your just overall relationship is going to change because of it.
Yeah.
So it's just very different. But yeah, so we just want to hit on that real quick about being blindsided. I'm a little distracted because I think it's going to rain. I think it's raining out there. But have you guys ever been blindsided? Let us know in the comments if you have ever been blindsided. What's your story? We'd love to hear it. If you're on Instagram, maybe we'll put a poll out or something on Instagram. Have you ever been blindsided?
I guarantee
I'm
probably
getting
like
tired.
I guarantee like 4 out of 5 people have.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
If you ever watch any show or watch any podcast, they always bring people on that want to share some story or something that they went through. And like people, for some reason, love that. Like they love to hear like the downfall of your relationship. I don't understand it. Like people gravitate towards that versus
like a murder case.
Knowing you're happy in a relationship.
Yeah, it's like a murder case. Like people are just infatuated with
they just want to know
the worst aspects of I mean, because it's an anomaly, because it's not a common thing, like, so people love to hear about it. I don't know, like I'm getting ideas about
what to do next.
Like
for some reason Catfish just popped into my head, and I don't know why, because I used to watch Catfish religiously because I was like so intrigued.
Hold that thought, because maybe that'll be an episode in the future. But I think we're going to wrap this episode up here.
If you haven't yet tuned in to Love is Blind, you should. If you watch this season first, I would definitely recommend going back to the first, second, or third to watch those as well. From our opinion, I think season 1 and 2 are probably the best. But feel free to watch all of them. If you're just hanging around and need something to do, it's a good show to watch. So
it's a very good show. But we really appreciate you guys watching this episode. The James Bond episode. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I just saw the 007 and I was like, wow, James Bond, cool. And I didn't even like James Bond as a kid. So, so next episode, maybe it's something that we talk about, another reality show, or we talk about, what did you say?
You had mentioned maybe talking about our biggest hurdle, whether that be relationship or life. So we talked about that, but then we talked about Catfish, Dateline. We have a few options that we can talk about.
So if you want to know updates on what we're thinking about for a future episode, make sure you're following our Instagram, again, linked in the episode description down below. Make sure you're following our Instagram, because we'll post what we're thinking on there and where our minds are at, and maybe ask you guys for input. So make sure you're following us on Instagram. That's where you'll get all the latest up-to-date information on episodes, what's coming out, and what is on our minds. So little reminder, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that good stuff, so you never miss an episode. And we have the last
announcement is our lucky winner. So do you want to announce?
No, go ahead. You can announce who it is.
So our lucky winner is Miss Chloe Marshall.
Chloe Marshall, congratulations.
So she will be getting a $50 gift card to her choosing of her place, or her favorite place.
Yes.
So we will be reaching out to her after this episode goes live on Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll reach out to you after Wednesday. What's the date today? The 15th?
I have no idea. Yeah.
16, 17, 18, 19. So So April 19th is when this episode will be released. We are going to reach out to you, Chloe. Congratulations on winning the gift card. You can let us know what store, whatever you want that for, but really appreciate you doing that. Yeah, we're really excited for you. So be on the lookout for that. But
as always, we thank you guys for tuning in. As Colin mentioned, if you haven't watched Love is Blind and you made it this far, we're sorry that you may have seen some spoilers, but it's always worth going back and watching. Or
you have no idea what Love is Blind even is.
Yeah.
But watch it and then rewatch this episode, and then everything will make sense to you.
But yeah, other than that, we were... I don't know. I feel like that's everything.
Yeah, no, that's it. So
I feel like I have something to mention, but I probably don't. But maybe I'm just getting hungry and delusional now. So
yeah. So yeah, really appreciate you guys listening. We will see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we will catch you guys then. But thank you for tuning in to This Side of Heaven, episode 7, the James Bond episode. Winston's ready to go home. I'm ready to eat some food. You're ready to eat some food. Probably get on some comfy clothes, lay down, watch a movie, something. So, all right, guys.
Next time.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Later.